All right, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Forge Your Life podcast here with your host, Richard Fu from richardfu.com and The Ultimate Man. And today I have someone who's really just like an angel that's come into my life, yeah? And when I first met her, she just blew my mind. She's just so energetic, yet so spiritual, so down to earth. And that was, that person blew my mind. Really made me understand what it truly means to be spiritual, and in a way that is not the woo-woo sense, but actually the business sense, and she makes it make real sense, right? Not only that, she doesn't just make sense, she makes dollars, guys, makes dollars. And her name is Elyse Anne. She is the founder and the creator of one of the biggest Facebook groups I've ever seen, right? The Spiritual Entrepreneurs Group, which has over 17,000 members in it. Not only that, in this group, and what she does with this group is she helps spiritual entrepreneurs create that purposeful business, create that meaningful life, and most of all, be delighted in the riches from being spiritual, from being who they really are. And on top of that, she's actually been voted the most successful woman entrepreneur in Singapore, of all places. Not only that, she's going to take over the world. But that's enough about me talking about her. I'm going to bring her in here. Elyse Anne, thank you for jumping in, man.
Hey, Richard Fu! You're the man! Thank you for having me.
Oh,
what a wonderful introduction.
And that's only a little bit of it, Elyse. And I know you're a modest type of person. So, Elyse, for the other people who don't know much about you, could you give us a bit more details?
Well, I am also a mother. I have 3 children, Gabrielle, Seraphel, and Ariel, 10, 6, and 4, all turning 10, 6, and 4 this year. I'm a chauffeur mom. I send them to and from school. I'm also a high-class chauffeur for my husband. And I run my business from home.
Yeah, and not only that, you travel around the world, right? Meeting up with other spiritual entrepreneurs and just really helping them move their businesses forward, right?
Right. That's
awesome.
Right. I'm going to LA soon next month for 2 weeks for my own event, and I'm attending someone else's event. So, and I'm taking my family with me, getting my photo shoots done there. And so it's pretty awesome.
Awesome. Amazing. And I know you'd be traveling around, and this is the freedom that a lot of people want, especially entrepreneurs. And so, at least we were talking offline before, and I know that, you've been working on something big. And so what's happening now? What's the newest and the thing that excites you the most right now in your business?
Right now, what excites me the most is this new program. Well, I launched another program. It's called The Change Makers, and it's sold out. Without complicated sales marketing strategies, without video. I remember before she became my client, she's like, "Do you have a sales page that I can look at?" I'm like, "No sales page. All I have is a contract. Look at it, like it, sign it, and then we're done." So I don't fall into the sales page and the sales funnel. No, it's not for me. Sold out. And now I'm launching another program. It's called Own It, Be the Woman of Influence. It really sparked off because, I had about 10,000, 16,000 members in my group, and people saying, Elyse, you're so awesome, blah, blah, blah. Not to make myself sound really good, but that's what they're saying. And I didn't get it. So a lot of times you read the books, successful people see success in their eyes first, and then it kind of shows up on the outside. And so while I was searching for that success, when am I going to be successful? When am I going to be successful? I was looking for that thing. And I was having this conversation with one of my friends. I realized this, and she really brought this together for me. And so therefore you need to hang out with cool people, like people who get you. It's like they don't get you. Like, what are you talking about? So I got internal inkling within myself, but I didn't really put that into picture. And after that conversation, I'm like, you know what? I want 10,000. I visualized myself speaking in front of 10,000 people. I'm like, damn it, I do have that community. What am I talking about? And so even with 16,000 members, I wasn't owning my power. I wasn't owning my gift. I wasn't owning who I am. And in my mind, I saw myself as this little Elyse, just trying to make things. But here I am, the reality is I am a woman of influence in my group. Whatever I say does create an impact. But that didn't come naturally for me. I was this firecracker, right? I would get triggered, fight back. And so that was my trigger. And even when I started my group, I would be this very feisty leader, and I would just piss people off. Like, I'll just say what I want to say. So having that group grew me, actually. It's a win-win situation, allowed me to find my voice as a leader, as a woman. And to be honest, you know, Richard, people say they want to change the world, they want to make this world a much better place. To be honest, I think it's bullshit. They are looking for that within themselves in their lives. You know, I had that dream as well. I want to change the world. I want to be this. I want to be that. And then I actually paused and looked at my own life. And I'm like, you know, I don't think I live a very interesting life.
Yeah.
I'm excited about my own life. And I'm like, hang on, wait a minute. No wonder my outside, my external world is not reflecting what I deserve and desire. And so that was when I stopped and paused. And I'm like, you know what? Screw making the world a much better place, because I'm not even excited about my own life. So I made that mission, and I set out on the mission to make my life exciting, that I am interested in living in my life. And that's what took off. And that's what happened for me. And, you know, Richard, as we are starting out as coaches, healers, or whatever entrepreneur that we are, we model somebody, right? We model our mentors, we model the coaches, which is fine, because we don't know who we are, and we don't know our voice. We don't know who we are, basically. So I was taking this off some mentors. I was doing this. I was like just trying to be somebody, trying to fit in. And then it's actually easier to be you. And I'm like, that's it. I'm just going to be me.
Yeah.
So, you know, the first couple of years in my videos, I would be very polished, looking like this, and, you know, like makeup with fake lashes, and, you know, just being polished. And then recently I'm like, you know, screw it. I'm just going to be me. And I went outside for a walk, and I put on caps without makeup. And that was the thing that got me attention. And I'm like, but I'm not made up. I don't have my fake lashes on. And I'm like, but are you sure? So being spiritual and working with spiritual entrepreneurs, there are pros and cons. What I realized with working with spiritual people, whether they are spiritual or not, we all have this sixth sense, right? And especially spiritual people, they can feel the fakeness even though you portray that perfect scene outside. And then what they're looking for is that connection with you, how you make them feel and how they feel when they're in your environment. So when I like stand before them, like without that mask, they were then allowed to be themselves, you know? So it wasn't this, you know, I mean, in business, of course, you need to have, you know, nice pictures. That's just branding, right? Yeah. But the day life, people nowadays want to know what's going on behind the scenes. They want to know. They want to know if you're a real person. And that video did it for me, you know? That video attracted a lot of attention, got like clients coming in. And it's when I asked them, they said it was that video, that you were raw, you were real, and I could connect with you. And now with my videos, recently I did was with my daughter coming in, like, you know, I want milk. And that created a lot of attention as well in my community. It's like, oh, you know what? It's like there's no perfect time. Even successful women has these moments with their children, and it's real. It's real. So to get to this space, one has to be confident, and they know who they are, and really don't give a crap about what other people think of them.
That's why you got the purple hair now, right?
Right, the purple hair. I'm like, you know, screw it. I'm just going to do it. So that's why I started the Own It program, Own It, Be the Women of Influence, not because you want to influence other people. And the fact of the matter, if you want to change the world, you have to be able to influence the people around you. But before that, you have to be able to influence yourself. If you can't influence the people around you, then forget about strangers. Right? Yeah. So that's why I'm really interested in that program. Yeah.
I love it. And the one thing I want to bring out here, Elyse, that you brought up so well, and that's like, you know, when we're starting out on this journey, when we're starting out to be either spiritual, entrepreneur, run our own business, whatever it is, we start modeling everyone else. And then we start kind of like putting like stickers on top of ourselves, right? Of other people. It's like, oh, I want to be like Tony. I want to be like, you know, Marie Forleo, B School, this. And then we cover ourselves with so much stickers that we don't know who we are anymore, right? And that's what I love the most about you is that, you know, you burst through all those stickers and you release them all, right? You don't, you know, you take a little bit out of it, but then you redefine it into yourself. It's like putting a cake mix, right? You put in all these ingredients, but you mix it in and it's still your own, right? And that's what I love the most. And you're so true. And this is what I say so much is that, I just want to make an impact in my world. And when I say my world, the people that I have direct impacts with, people I interact with closely. But like you say, you have to work from within. Yeah, you have to work from within, and that's where you find your own voice. And I love this. And how did it go? How did it feel for you, right? Because you were in a much different situation because you had a group of 10,000 people. And at that point, you probably thought you had a voice, right? You had a specific voice. Then to transform that voice into what it is now, how are you going through that journey? And what was going through your mind, Elyse, when you're at that 10,000 point, like, but everyone just knows me as this. But then if I try and make this shift, what would happen? How did you go through that process?
That's a great question, Richard. It goes back to this statement that I found. Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for Facebook because they send me people on a day-to-day basis and I don't even have to pay for leads. And for me, I'm spiritual. And I know, and I've worked this out, even though there's certain algorithms on Facebook and social media, but nothing beats divine intervention.
Yeah.
And so, of course, when I started the group, to be honest, I only wanted like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people in my community because that's what the marketing gurus say. When you have like 1,000 people or 2,000 people, you would make a certain level of income, blah, 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 right? It's just what's the numbers game. And so from 0 to 1,000 is like, whoa, right? But then, and then it grew to 5,000. And at that time, the interesting thing is, Richard, I was struggling. My business took 10 steps backwards. I had no income and I was back to my 50 cents in my bank account was worse than my $1 days, and banks were howling on my, like literally like knocking on my door, howling on me. And my group was growing. And so to digress a little bit, I'm wondering, why am I not able to get clients even though I had a community of 5,000 people? Because I lost my why. I started judging the lifestyle. I started judging the money. I started judging other people. I just started judging the rich coaches. I just started judging. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have anything to do with them. So I lost my why. But then again, you're a human being. You need to put food on the table and you need money to survive and all the hula thing, right? And so that was when you really surrender. I surrender. And to be honest, how I grew my group is just focusing on developing myself. And, to be honest, to have 50 people sign up or request to join my group is not an uncommon sight. And so there was one day when there was 5 people who wanted to join. I'm like, WTF, what's going on? Like, why 5 people? What's going on? And then I went in and checked my energy. You know what? My energy was, like really just going back into the lowest energy, and therefore it's 5 people. And then once I raised my vibration, boom, again, the next day, 50 people want to come in and 40 people want to come in. And so you look at your external environment and it's a reflection of how you feel inside. So now, again, it's the numbers game for me. So I've got 17. Of course, I want to hit 20,000, right? And I want to hit 25. But then it all comes back down to the ego. Like, why do you want 20,000, Elyse? Like, what's wrong with 17,000 people? Nothing is wrong, but I just want 20. It looks good on my resume. So you have this constant battle with the ego, and like right now, so you have 17,000 people. So why not you serve these 17,000 people and not bother why these other 3,000 people are not showing up? So there's this constant battle between the feel good about 20,000. It feels better, right, to say you have a 20,000 community versus the 17,000 people community, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's just this constant battle with the ego. So, going back to your question, it's all about focusing on myself, developing my own voice, and really be true to you. And one of my friends, she's a millionaire, and before she said this sentence to me, I'm like, you know what? This is my group. I could do whatever I want. It was all about me, right? And I pissed a lot of people off, to be honest. And you know what? Take it or leave it. If you don't want, just go. I was at that level. And then so we all grow. It's like our journey as a child, right? When you reach that 16 years old, like 18, you feel like you know everything. So entrepreneur journey, it's a little bit like this. And she told me something, and that woke me up. And she said, in business, don't try to piss people off all the time. I don't know if she read what I said, but she's like, in business, you don't want to be in people's bad books. Not even though you don't like them, you don't have to piss them off. Just maintain a good relationship. And she is not in the coaching industry, but she really built her business through the traditional way. So I believe there is some knowledge and gold within how the traditional business built their business, because a long time ago there wasn't internet. Yeah. Yet, I think those people are more like this because they don't have internet, they have limited resources, and yet they become a millionaire. Like my grandfather, he's a first generation Singaporean. He started from nothing and became a millionaire, but then there wasn't internet, there wasn't anything. So we're all about, and now there's really no excuse for you not to be a millionaire because of all the resources that we have.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. And what interests me is I'm sure that one voice in your head didn't just pop out and just stay in front of you, right? I'm sure there would have been a lot of other voices coming at you. And so then how did you filter through the voices to find out the one that's actually you, right? The one that is truly Elyse? And I know I ask these hard questions, but that's what stuck into my head. I'm like, I get all these voices all the time, and how do I know which one is my voice? How do I know which one is me? How did you find that process, and how did you go, that's it?
Great question. It boils down to my relationship with God, universe, creator, whatever you want to call it. So there are basically two voices in your head, the mind chatter, which is the ego, and the divine voice. So it's your job, not mine, to go discover how that feels like for you. So because everybody's now so busy doing this, but they entertain the mind chatter, but they don't find time to discover what is their real truth within themselves. And so they're so busy. And so I've gone through many cycles of up and downs, and I realized that the downs is just God waking me up, like, hey, I'm still here. I mean, when I say God, it's nothing to do with religion. It's just spiritual, like this creator that created us, this divine being. So it's going back to surrendering, because once you're out of alignment with nature, that's when you struggle. So and that's when you listen to your ego or your mind chatter, because past experiences has told you that you can't get it. And so it's your job. I mean, the divine speaks to you. I mean, I think maybe some people may be not comfortable with God, but I think I'll just use the word divine. So divine speaks to each of us in a different way. So in the spiritual realm, we have this clairaudient, clairvoyant, blah, 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 right? So I feel God, like I feel him, I sense him, I have this inner knowing. I don't hear it, neither do I see it. Some people can hear it and some people can see it. So it's your job to discover how the divine speaks to you. And one way of knowing is the mind chatter and the ego will make you feel like, oh yeah, there's lack. Oh yeah, right, I can't do this. It'll make you feel really bad. But the divine's voice, the divine's energy would be, you know what, all will be well. Even if it's not happening for you right now, if you're praying like crazy, if it's not happening, then believe that something out there, he has something better for you, And so there is this piece. And when I was really struggling at that point, I've no choice but to struggle. And that was when the book Tao Te Ching came into my life. I mean, I knew of it very long ago, but when the students radio teacher shows up and then these principles start showing up again, it's being in nature, being in flow with nature, because there's a cycle in nature.
Yes. Yes.
You cannot break that cycle. And so there is this thing called divine time, although there's instant manifestation, but there's this divine time as well. Like if we plant an apple tree, it's not going to grow to become an oak tree. And an apple tree does not think it wants to become an oak tree. And while you plant the seeds of an apple tree, it does need time. And it's going to become an apple tree, but it needs that time to grow and to nurture, for that root to grow and whatever that it needs to be done. So there's this thing called the divine timing as well. And we can have anything we desire. The question is, who do you need to become? And who do you need to become? And that period is that period of that seed becoming a tree.
Yeah. I get you. And it's like, I love what you say, that it's a cycle, that it's all a cycle, and that we need to be willing to ride through that struggle, ride through that pain, ride through the hurt. So then you can burst out, right? Burst out of the ground and actually become that tree that you are.
Right. And, you know, in the middle of a storm, that eye is always at peace, and no storm can last forever.
I love that. And it's so important for the people who are listening, who feel like they're in this storm. Because, you know, we all go through these storms, you know, sometimes happens almost on a weekly basis, even sometimes, right? And so I love it. And that's such true advice, Elyse. And I love it so much that it's so true. And then how do you transform that and become able to influence yourself first, right? Is this the whole journey to influence yourself, is to find your voice, then you influence yourself with your own voice, and then you can communicate that out and bring it out to the world?
You know, Richard, this is easy. The hardest part is to take action. Because when I was struggling as a broken healer, I flew myself to LA to rewire my brain for success. And when I started out as a healer, my friends would tell me, you know, you can't charge for your services because you're doing God's work. And I actually believed them. When I went to LA, I saw, of course, people like me who were struggling. But then I saw people who are millionaires and are spiritual. And I'm like, hang on, what's going on? Like, you mean you can become a millionaire? So after that event, I read a lot of books. I was very knowledgeable, but at the end, my results were still the same. Why? Because knowledge is knowledge. Until you take action, it doesn't become an experience. And when it doesn't become an experience, it doesn't override your unconscious mind, and therefore you are still the same.
Wow. Could you say that again? Because that was so amazing, right? Could you say it again?
Let me say it again. Oh my God, I don't want to say it.
It's all right. We'll put it in there. But that was amazing, Elyse. Yeah, I mean, and you're so true. It's everything here you say has been true, and it's all about the action. Yeah, I mean, like, otherwise it's let's rely on the secret and keep praying, keep hoping and not do anything. And so what was your first steps then, right? When you realized your own voice, right? When you realized how...
My first step was to make a decision. And most people make that decision and then go back and forth, they ping and pong and ping and pong, you know? So the universe works in a very funny way, if you like. I mean, it's a really cosmic joke. Like, the moment you make a decision, the roof falls down, and then the car breaks down, and then something happens to distract your attention. I'm like, oh man. And then most spiritual people would say, oh, this is a sign from God, this is a sign from the universe, I'm not meant to do this, blah 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 blah. And then they give themselves so many excuses, and then this is the fact. And I would like to think about this is God's testing you. I mean, we are given these tests. If you are really serious about your dreams, are you really serious about this? Because if you just all day long and you get like clients, then I'll be a skinny billionaire by now. You know, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do my 10,000 steps. I'll be like, I mean, this, like, you know. So the fact of the matter is, you need to make that decision and stick with it, even if there's a thunderstorm outside or tsunami happens, and you are going to do it no matter what. So this decision comes when you really come from a space of surrender, when you stop tolerating. And most women are like this. They will tolerate in an abusive relationship because what if the next one that comes along is worse? So I know, you know, I can manage this. So they tolerate. They'll come to a point where you can no longer tolerate. That is when that decision is made, because it's more painful to stay in the same place rather than to actually do something about that. So I remember I was like struggling. I was trying to build it, and I got very angry with the divine God, right? Like, what the hell are you trying to do? Like, why? So this is where you realize that you have given your power away, that you are this small thing that cannot create, and like other people will decide on your behalf. And so there was a time after like crying and something and like, you know, like releasing all the energy out. And then I realized that, you know what? The truth is, God, divine, doesn't show any favoritism. We're all the same, right? We're all the same. And if Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Donald Trump, okay, whatever that means, but and what's the other guy's name? Richard Branson can be successful and they are children of God. That means that's available for me too. Right? Because we're all God's children. The divine children, we're all the same. We're given the same equal opportunities. That was the time I decided I was going to do whatever it takes legally and morally without prostitution and selling of my children to be successful.
Wow.
That was the time I decided.
I love it.
I was 8 months pregnant then. Child.
Oh, wow.
So it was it wasn't a do or die situation. It was a die or die situation. I freaking gotta do this.
Yeah. Wow. And I want to highlight something that you brought up so pivotally and so importantly is that, the decision, once you make the decision, you say like the universe is funny, yeah, and it throws all this other stuff at you, like your car breaks down or a hole in your roof happens and it tests you. And I love that you bring this up because so many other people, and you said it yourself, is people think, oh, this is a sign from the universe that I shouldn't be doing this. And then you said it in the other way, is that it's a test to see how much you want it, right? Because you have to get tested. You have to walk through that fire to see how much you actually want it. So then you can then the universe is like, oh, Elyse is actually pretty serious about this. So I'll give it to her. And I love that you bring it up that way because it's so important because so many people, I think in our world, like they just say, oh, any first sign of trouble, they just back out. They just back out and think this is it. Oh, I'm not meant to be doing this. And it's like you haven't even stepped onto the field yet when that happens. And so I'm so glad and I'm so honored that you brought that up because it's such a huge learning that a lot of people need to take from this. So Elyse, I want to say it hurts me. It pains me this much to actually say we have to start wrapping up the show now, right? Because I could just talk forever with you, and you know that, right? We chatted for so long before. And so we're going to wrap this up with a few quick questions over your way, right? And I'm going to start off with this. This is what we call the time travel moment, right? And I'm sure there's many moments in your life where you think you could go back to little Elyse and then give her some piece of advice, some piece of wisdom that you know now. Right? What time would you go back to and what would you say? What's that one piece of advice you'd give little Elyse?
I'm not sure at which age I want to go back to, but I think probably in my 20s when I was so obsessed with men. Like I really wanted that relationship because I thought that my financial freedom, my financial destiny, my financial whatever things that I wanted would come from a man. Mm-hmm. And I think I'll go back to my 20s and tell me that I don't need to wait for a man. I can have everything I want without a man. And then if he wants to come along, fine, great, Then I stop focusing on trying to fit into what the man wants me to be. And, it's just not worth it. At this age right now, it's just not
Love it. It's just, just focus on you. Stop trying to get filled up from someone else, right? Or something else to fill you up and give you that. I love that. And so moving into the next one, Elyse. So what is the best piece of advice you've ever received, Elyse?
Your obstacles are your gifts in life.
Boom. That's it. Awesome. And so then moving into the next one, I'm sure you've read a lot of books, Elyse. So if there was one book that was an absolutely total must read, what book should the people here listening or watching pick up?
The all-time favorite, Think and Grow Rich, of course. It's really, I don't say it lightly, but every time you go back to that book, you find gem. You find exactly what you need at that point. And, when you reread again, you are a different person and you'll get a different meaning out of it.
Amazing. Awesome. So just two more questions left, Elyse. I want to ask this one is, you're the owner, the founder of Spiritual Entrepreneurs. And I want to ask you, what is it to be truly spiritual? What would that mean? What's the definition of that in your mind?
I think people have a lot of labels for spiritual. They have to be wearing white. Okay, ironically, I'm wearing white today. And spirituality is just finding your voice, finding who you want to be, and finding your true self, and working yourself way to be loved again, love and be loved, finding your way back to the divine. It's really funny. Like, before we reincarnate, we are in this like blissful state, and then we do this to ourselves. And we come to this place called Earth, and we create drama for ourselves just to find ourselves way back to the divine. So I think that's what being spiritual means. It's just doing life your own way, and doing what's right for you. If you can sleep peacefully at night, that's right.
Awesome. Love it. So our final question here, Elyse, is, if you had 30 seconds left to live, and, you're surrounded by, your husband, your kids, your friends, or 17,000, 20,000, 25,000 people, right, on Facebook in your group, what's the last piece of advice you would leave them with?
And this is what world's going to end?
Just your life.
I mean, as cliche as it sounds, I think the only one word is love. There's no advice. It's just love. When you are in that love space, then there is no space for what other people think. There's no space for fear and there's, we are taught to live with conditioned love. And so love is love is love. Love is not conditioned love. It's conditioned love is not love. It's that unconditional space, and to go find that space within yourself. Love.
Beautiful. That was fantastic. You had me when you just said love. I'm like, tell me more. And then the way you said it, I mean, I just love it. Love it, right? So Elyse, I want to say really, really honored, and absolutely thank you so much for just being on the show. And so for the people who are listening and watching, they want to learn more about your group and, your programs, where's the best place they should head to, Elyse?
Well, of course, go join the group, the Spiritual Entrepreneurs. You can find it by typing it on the Google bar, not the Google bar, the Facebook Google bar. I call that the Facebook Google bar there. Just type in the Spiritual Entrepreneurs. You see my face there. Join the right group. And and my website is Elyse, ELYSE-ANNE.com. Like my page, it's the Elyse Anne. I do daily shows where I give people practical steps on how to be spiritual and live the rich life.
Amazing, Elyse Anne, amazing. And so from what we've discussed so far on the show, Elyse, is there anything else you wanted to add, or anything that we haven't gotten a chance to cover on our chat so far that you wanted to add?
Right. So what it's in me right now that needs to come out is be grateful. Be grateful. We may be, where's my next client? Where's my this? I'm going to have the money, blah, blah. But there will never be enough. There will never be enough, not because from I want more, but because from the space of I want to be more and do more, then there will never be enough when you become a bigger person. But that being said, we are so busy chasing our success, chasing that thing. A lot of times we forget to just be still and be grateful that we are alive. Just be grateful, because from that space, then you can create more, because when you are grateful, there's no space for that survival mode to kick in.
Yeah, love it. Amazing. Thank you so much, Elyse. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And guys, of course, this wraps up another episode of the Forge Your Life podcast here. Amazing tips. And of course, you can remember to head on over to richardfu.com to grab all the show notes from there, where Elyse Anne has dropped in so many knowledge bombs in there. We're going to throw all of those in, and her links for her as well. And of course, guys, if this show meant a lot, if you learned a lot on this show, remember to share it out, because people need to hear about this. We don't want to keep this the world's best kept secret. We don't want to keep Elyse Anne's message a secret. We don't want to keep everyone else's who's been on the show their secrets. This needs to go out. And so make sure you head on to iTunes to rate the podcast so that we can share this message out to the world. Of course, guys, we're going to head on over richardfu.com for all the other information and all the other episodes there. So go out there, go live with love, guys, and go smash it. I'll see you in the next one. Yeah. Elyse Anne, I'm going to ask you a quick question here, right? This is for something special, if that's okay with you, right?
Is this still recording?
Yeah, it's still recording because I'm going to capture it, but there will be no video. Yeah? Okay. So this one's for men, and I'll tell you afterwards what it is. But so, Elyse, what's the modern man missing in the world right now? What does the world need the most from men right now? What do you think they need? What do you think they need to be doing, man, now in the world?
I think, personally, I think, and I strongly believe they need to drop the ego.
And drop the ego and step into what?
And step into surrender. Like, it's okay to ask for directions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay that the women are sometimes right. It's okay.
Oh, awesome.